Hello, welcome to Woodline Tracking. It's a rainy day, but a warm day here in Ohio. So I'm going to take a time and go over the Fishhook. It is a good little tactic that I think every Patriot prepper should know how to use. I'll go over in detail today on how to use it in paramilitary and tracking situations. So let's get started. Okay, the Fishhook. It can either be, if you just want to overwatch and see who's coming down your back trail, if you want to overwatch your back trail, or it can be a hasty ambush. Depends on the situation. I have used it in both. It works very well. It's a technique or tactic that every Patriot prepper should have a good working knowledge on and how to use, in my book. Basically, all it is pretty simple. Here's your track line, you're coming down, you think you're being followed, or if you want to check that you're being followed, you come around, you double back on your track line to a place that you can overlook, preferably higher. Also, you need to have good cover and concealment and camouflage. Alright, and then you just come along and you'll wait to see if somebody or another team comes along, okay? At that point, you can either let them go on by, or you can ambush them. All depends on what you want to do in the situation. Again, this is taking place in a paramilitary or tracking environment, not a full-fledged military environment. So more or less, you can do that. And one thing you might want to consider is how many guys are there. If there's more than one team out there that you know of, what's your support, basically. So I would recommend that if you do have a larger force like here, if you do want to open up on them, I would shoot one or two of them and then just take off. That will cause them to get a little scared, a little emotional, upset. Maybe they'll do some irrational things. Also, they have to get the one or two wounded or dead guys out of the area. That's a job, trust me. That's a job to get a wounded man out of the woods. So that's something you might want to consider. But make sure you have a good escape route when you do this and well planned out. Now, if you have more guys in your team and you're doing this, you need to make sure that every guy on your team knows who's going to start the ambush, the hasty ambush, and what to do. Oh, you don't peer out, you know, who peers out first, what team lays down cover, what team peers out, that kind of order. Where your rally points are, you know, so if you leave, where do you guys meet up if you get separated? Also, what happens if this enemy team decides that this is a danger area and they think that they're being suckered into some kind of ambush and they decide to clear this hill? What should your team do then? You need to go over all that real fast with your team. Now again, I know it's a hasty ambush, but if you guys have practiced enough, you should be able to get them orders pretty fast over the man. Everybody knows what to do on this. And everybody you need to keep your team together. You don't spread them out because all your firepower is together and you work together as a team that way. If you spread them apart, it doesn't do you much good in these situations. Okay, I'm going to show you guys another little trick with this fish hook that I've used, been taught. It's more of an anti-tracking technique is how I would classify it and how it was taught to me. Basically, let's say you're going through, let's just say there's snow on the ground, for lack of a better example, that you can see the footprints easy, you know where the guy's going, hypothetically. Just walking leaves and everything else. On this, you're coming along, going down your track line, you decide to do the fish hook, you come back, you get behind a log, you lay down behind the log, you put your gun across the top of the log, you knock the snow off, you can see you're impressed in there. Alright, you stay there a little bit, then you take off and you go this way. The team that is tracking you or following you or whatever, let's assume there's only one team, like for a better example. They come up here and they find this. They find where you was overwatching your trail, trying to do a hasty ambush on them, and they can see you laying down, and they can see gun across the log and all that. What's that going to do is that's going to cause great concern to that team. That team, if they're well trained, is going to slow down unbelievably and clear all the danger areas that they come across, and watch all the danger areas, and we're going to slow them down. So that's going to give you more time to get away, because you're going to slow them down greatly, because they can't afford to get ambushed, especially on your small team like that. So it'll slow them down a lot. I've seen it happen. It works well. Basically, so you might consider doing that. It'll work in the leaves too. It'll work in more than just a snow environment, especially if they know what they're looking for as for tracks. And again, clearing the danger area, if you guys are interested, I'll do some videos on that. We've done that quite often, teach that quite often. One other thing I want to bring up is a lot of time people say to maybe leave some bait out here, like a magazine or something out there to sucker the guy in. Yeah, you can leave bait, but I don't recommend leaving a magazine or something that tells them that a paramilitary or a professional team went through there, because I've seen it happen firsthand, and all it did was got that team, now it slowed the team down. You might want to consider that. I was going to bring that up too, but all that team did was knew that there might be an ambush there, and they went into clearing the areas, looking for everything 100%. So that's one other thing you can do. You can use it to maybe slow them down if you're doing this by throwing something valuable out there. If it's a well-trained team, it'll slow them down big time, because they think that they're being suckered into an ambush or something. But if you do want to bait them for some reason, you do want to ambush them, I would recommend thinking around the lines as something like just footprints, leaves torn up, something that looks natural, like you went through there, that it doesn't look like you're baiting them in. You know, you could just go through there and just leave maybe a little better footprints than normal through there, or kick the leaves up a little bit, for they'll come up through with their team, and maybe they won't clear the danger area and see what footprints are there to see if that was you or not. Just think about it, something around them lines, but I do not recommend, unless you want to slow them down, by leaving a magazine or some kind of piece of military gear to identify that your military team went through there, because all I know I've seen it happen is that team will go on high alert, and if you are there trying to ambush them, it's been more difficult. You gave it away. But again, if you want to slow them down, it's a possibility. I hope you find this information useful. I do this just to try to help you patriot preppers out there on what are some of the techniques that are prior to you can be used to make you better, more equipped. Remember, time may go on, but your life may not. Enjoy.